All right. So, hey, everybody. It's Rob here with AdButler. Today I'm joined by Ron Duque. I got that right this time. Head of advertising and AdTech operations for WeatherBug. He's an industry veteran with 20 years of experience from, what is it, AOL to Ground Truth to WeatherBug and all sorts of things in between. So, Ron, welcome to the Clown Show. and wondered if maybe you could give yourself a little bit of an intro to everybody here that's watching and listening today.
Absolutely. And Rob, I just wanted to thank you and the AdButler team for having me on the show. This is, I think we'll have a really great conversation. So just wanted to say thank you.
No
My
problem.
name is Ron Duque from WeatherBug, owned by Ground Truth. And just like you said, I've been in this space for quite a long time. Been in with WeatherBug since 2013, which already itself, already 9 years in one place. I know in this industry is quite a long time. So I started off my career on the agency side, sort of just wanting to be a buyer, get my foot in the door. I saw the um, uh, what was it, ad operations specialist role come up, and oh no, it was coordinator at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna get my foot in the door. I don't have no idea what this is, and then I'll just go from there. And then that's sort of just understanding or just getting to understand like the digital landscape, which was still pretty young at the time on the agency side, because they had broken out just the digital piece for MEC, Media Edge, which is now Wavemaker within the Group M conglomerate. And then, just as you said, moved on to a Pictello, which was a rich media provider and content platform acquired by AOL. And then you hear like through your career that like how the industry sort of intertwines within AOL. Like, hey, where'd you come from? What class are you in? Like, what part did you come in on? Which is very interesting. Like, I love having those conversations as well with individuals, and it's almost like a family on its own when you've never met anybody from AOL, and you're like AOL. Then it's sort of like it automatically becomes like that link between the two of you. Went
Yeah.
to Vibe Media, which is a music and culture publication, and then came on board to WeatherBug and been here ever since. And then also we were acquired in 2016 by Ground Truth, and that's sort of where we are right now.
Awesome. Yeah, that's quite the repertoire. Fun fact that I don't really say very often, but I did a brief stint at AOL. So they had a campus in Moncton, New Brunswick, here in Canada. So I did a brief stint there on the AIM technical support team. So back when AIM was AOL Instant Messenger was still a thing. I was
Still love
on the
it.
support. I was on
Bring
the
it
support. Man,
back.
I can still
Bring it
hear the
back.
noises, man. Like AIM and MSN Messenger, and then like ICQ. Like, oh, I'm dating myself here, but I
Oh yeah.
miss those, man. I miss those greatly. Don't get me wrong. I love Facebook Messenger and all that stuff now, but I don't know. There was just
It's not
something
the same.
exciting about.
It's not the
Yeah,
same.
right. You had MSN, and everybody had those little emojis back in the. I don't even think we
Yeah.
called them emojis back then, right? But in their names and stuff, and ICQ was like even like before. Oh man,
Oh yeah.
like the golden age of the internet, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why like AIM was just one of the best technologies out there, or the ones I miss so much. Maybe not the best technologies out there. I'll just rephrase that. Why I miss it so much, because you could just bring it everywhere you go, right?
Yep.
And then the advent of iMessenger sort of became like,
Yeah.
now you're the green bubble versus the blue bubble or whatever it is. And I know how many times
Yeah.
I screw up all these conversations. Like, who's this guy? I was like, it's Ron.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm with you 110%. Yep, for sure. And before I go too deep into the ad tech world,
Yeah.
for those that are watching today and not listening, you're gonna notice I'm quite the nerd. And I'm a proud nerd or geek. I don't really care what people call me, but I have to comment on the amazing stuff you have in the background, because I am a huge Star Wars fan. May the Fourth be with you was 2 days ago. Noticed you have Star Wars every there. Totally not work related, but what's your favorite piece that you have like on your shelf, or maybe not on display? All time
Oof.
favorite piece of memorabilia or collectibles you've got, because for those
Oh
not
man.
watching, he's got Lego Star Wars everywhere.
I've got a lot of pieces. You know what? Actually, no one has really asked me that question, but I think my favorite piece is probably with the Viking helmet on it.
Yeah.
The reason why I that's probably one of my favorite ones is um, when we had our first daughter. So we my wife and I have two daughters. The eldest one is going to be 7 in a couple of weeks,
Wow.
and the other one and our little one is just turned 5 in February. But they're both into Star Wars now. They love
I
looking
love
at
it.
that one, but that one specifically was I put that on the baby registry, and one of my friend he was the one he was a collector. He was a collector of toys,
Yep.
huge collector of toys and memorabilia and stuff like that. And he was like, I'm gonna get you this. And so I was super excited when I got it. I was like, I don't think anybody's gonna get this for me. So but he got that for me. And
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, my friend Hector, who's great person, was got that for me. So that's one
That's
of my very favorite ones. But I do have a few others. And you know,
that's
you
awesome.
put Lego and Star Wars together, two of my favorite things,
Oh, I
that help me
agree.
decompress. And then um, my love for sneakers, as well
I can
in my
tell. Yeah.
background. So that's also there, which I love. I mean, I don't buy a lot. I mean, there are tons. I know a ton of people who have hundreds of pairs. I know a couple who have like less than a couple hundred pairs, like in the 30s, 50s, 60s. I'm somewhere in that realm. But yeah, those are just some things that sort of like help me express myself.
It's funny you say decompress. Really, that is a great term. Um, and you're not the first person I've heard say that in ad tech. Um, so, um, how does how do you kind of unwind? So, I'm just thinking nowadays. I don't know if you work from home most of the time. I'm assuming you do.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things that I've had a conversation with just recently, and mostly with the team here at AdButler, but I've had the conversation with other teams as well, is that almost everybody has kind of went remote since COVID happened, right? Um, and from there, it was like, okay, well, how do you separate and differentiate between like work you and home you and personal you and so forth? Like they get into this routine. So it's a little less about the ad tech, but more about just that working from home experience and so forth, right? And for me, so I was working from home before COVID happened.
Yeah.
So I kind of gotten used to it. I kind of I built a routine, but it was quite a struggle for a lot of our employees here to work to start going, and especially developers, right? To start working remotely. How did you find that transition? I'm not sure if you've been doing it just since COVID or for a long time, but how did you find that transition, or what do you kind of teach with your team and your
Mhm.
the folks that you work with? If you're working remotely, how do you balance that work and home life? Because it's really hard to separate to say, hey, I'm done work now. You
Yeah.
almost feel like you're always working sometimes, right?
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
So WeatherBug has been pretty much remote even prior to COVID and work from home. But being in the New York area, we do have a central location, Ground Truth and WeatherBug. We have an office in One World down in Financial District here. So I'd go in every day, and I would. It was a lot of flexibility. If you need to go be home and do things, that you could do that. But when you start to cut that off, the way I was able to decompress was being on the train and just zone out, right? And just like completely turn things off. But
Right.
now, as you start thinking about that stuff, like I had to make it a point, and I know not a lot of people have that luxury. Like being in New York and the surrounding areas and the boroughs, people don't
Mhm.
have like their own one family house, right? Where I can carve out a part of the basement which is like my dungeon. I don't have. I mean, that's one of the very small windows I have in my area, and like a lot of this lighting. But I made it a point to have a separate workspace so I can cut off the time. You know, I was able to like start working out. I haven't in a while. And then just be more present with my family and my kids. Very early on, I was telling the kids like, you can't come down here when I'm working because daddy's working. But it wasn't fair to them. Like, this is their space. If you saw what this basement looked like, it is a complete catastrophe right now. There's like there, it's it's terrible. It's bad with toys everywhere. Not just my toys, the kids' toys, laundry baskets and stuff like that. But
Yep.
and then I realized like, hey, so I need to be able to let them come down here and enjoy their space because they're also it's not their fault. And then introducing my family into the Zoom environment,
Hmm.
I just didn't care anymore because I wasn't no longer apologizing, like, sorry for my kids. All they wanted to do
Yeah.
is like say hi. They want to see other people too, not just me or my wife. They wanted to be participating, just like say a quick hello, and that'd be okay for them too. So I was unapologetic very early on to be able to do that. And I think that was very, very important. And then after that, it became as restrictions loosened up, I started to help with my daughter's soccer teams, um, coach them. They were still very small, be participating there, and I continued to do that. So, and then there are times where um, I make it a point to use the functionality of like cutting yourself off on your phone to not allow any more notifications after a certain time.
Yep.
So I make sure I do that. I turn off the light and I shut down my computer every night when I'm
Yep.
like, here's separation because I know if I could do something very quickly, I'll just say, oh, my computer's on. I don't want to have to wait for that boot up time to like and turn on the
Yeah.
lights and all
It's
that
only
stuff.
going to
So
be a couple of minutes. Why not? Right. Yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah,
suddenly there's a bunch of little tasks turn into one long session or yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I agree. And it's really cool that you mentioned the whole, the idea of kind of getting your family involved.
yep,
They they just want to say hi or something, the kind of the meme that was popular a year or two ago with the person doing the interview on was it CNN or one of the broadcasts, and
yeah,
the kid coming through the door and the nanny pulling the kid back, and
yeah,
now that's just commonplace, right? Like
yeah,
it's kind of what we do, and it's gotten to the point because I have a kid and he runs in here all the time, and yeah, I stopped apologizing. It's like,
yeah,
you know what, we work from home. Almost everybody works from home now. I don't
yeah.
know what you expect, right? Yeah, and everybody is like, the culture changed so quickly, and I think it was a very good thing because yeah, everybody's in that same boat, and it made the world almost feel a little bit more relaxed, which is great because yeah, it was definitely a strange working environment for a while with COVID and things like that.
Absolutely.
So
And some of
yeah.
them, yeah, and we do have like obviously we have a lot of parents and in our workspace too.
Hmm.
And sometimes when I see them saying starting to apologize, oh, I'm sorry for my kid, I try to immediately say like, don't apologize. I don't worry about it. I understand. If
Yep.
you have to go leave your camera on, if you don't want to leave your camera on, that's fine. If you don't need to turn off, if you forget to turn off your mic, I don't care. Let's just have this conversation. I understand you're stressed. You're probably way more stressed than I am. Let's go with it.
Yep. It's
Empathy. Just
yeah, and it's
that's it.
great. Like I found just allowing that kind of level of openness with the teams and things like that, and having it less feel so stressful and feel like a quote unquote professional workspace has made a big difference. We actually looked at a few different solutions out there now. So one of the things that I found struggling, and we'll get back to the ad tech in just a moment, but more on the team building side of things is, so we were recently looking at some things to increase like not necessarily productivity, but inclusivity with the team and kind of make them
Mhm.
feel more connected. So we, right now we're kind of using it's a completely not meant for work sort of thing, but we use Discord, right? So Discord is used by a lot of gamers, but we have a work Discord where people can just drop in and drop out of live chat whenever they want. Kind of Slack had something very similar with like huddles where you could go in, you could start a huddle. Whereas Discord, you could just drop in, talk to somebody, drop out, right? And you make a presence there, and you can have like a music bot and listen to music together. And we found that was really good. And there's been a bunch of new kind of apps being built around this. Like there's one called Gather, there's another one called So Work, where it's almost like this video game work environment where like you have an avatar that's sitting at a desk and you can see somebody that comes over and walks next to you, and when they do, this video pops up and you can hear them and stuff, and it's really cool. Have you guys looked like at WeatherBug, as a company, how do you guys approach that? So if you have people in different, like, do you do what sort of team building exercises do you do? How do you foster that closeness in the
Yeah.
community?
I think it really is difficult. I think for some individuals, like early on we would do the Zoom stuff or like let's have like the happy hour and like a lot of
Yep.
people, and then working with time zones. We what we did early on was in the morning time, like maybe once or twice a week, we'd have the morning coffee talk.
Yep.
It would just
Yep.
let's get in like the first 15 30 minutes of the day or during the week. People would come in and just talk, but that worked out really well. And then after a while, people were like, no one's joining anymore. And I think you just need to evolve each time, like as things. So I can't say,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that there's a one thing that works for you. Like just find a thing that works. Start with like the first 2 3 people that you have a very common thing with, and then almost like an ERG, right? Like
Yep.
you get those individuals you have a common interest with, start a Discord or start a huddle or whatever, and then start pulling
Yep.
people in, and like almost like your separate Slack channels of different components. But
Yep.
maybe it's just a more of a just before lunch or right after lunch, it's like you're just starting to unwind or having something together. Talk about that, or at one point we're doing like a um, through with Ground Truth and WeatherBug teams, like a Peloton workout like on Fridays,
That's
like but
awesome.
like a
Yeah.
live 20 minute, like whoever's there at 20 minutes,
Yep.
do a 20-minute a ride.
Yep.
And that worked out for a little bit. Some people just were
That's
able
a
to do
cool
it. Some
idea.
people were like, yeah, you're getting active. You're not doing, it's not involving, libations or stuff like that. But at least it's a break during the day, and people understand like if you can make it, you can make it. You can't. But you know,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a really like I actually low key might steal that idea. Like
Go
that's
for
a
it.
really good one, right?
Go
That's
for it.
awesome. All right, I'm gonna shift gears kind of back to the ad tech side of things.
Yeah.
It's super cool to hear about. I went on a bunny trail just because it's always great to talk to other people that work remotely who've been in it and things like that. So let's kind of shift the gears back to ad tech. Little still less on the tech side, more on the operations side. I recently got back from the Ad Monsters Publisher Forum in Tampa or St.
St.
Petersburg.
Pete's. Yep.
St. Pete's, yeah, just a few weeks ago. And one of the common things that I've heard from a lot of people, either whether it's on the tech provider side or the publisher side themselves right now, is that a lot of people have just almost started to go offshore for looking for people with ad tech experience or ad ops experience. It feels like there's not a lull in the industry, but there's so much happening in the advertising space. And it's funny, our CEO here, Rajiv, he always says that advertising is now the digital currency of the internet, and it really is.
Mm-hmm.
um, it's becoming so big and so popular, you almost totally forget that you're even looking at an ad most times nowadays, right? um, and all of these companies are now trying to find people, like they're doing new ways of monetizing, they're doing new and innovative things, and they're looking for people to fit these roles, and everybody is struggling to find people with ad experience, whether it's ad ops or ad tech. They get fresh students out of college,
Mm-hmm.
and marketing courses and so forth, and it's funny because I think you actually have a marketing degree.
I do.
um right, which is interesting
Very
because
rare in our space.
yeah, that's exactly it, right? Like most people I talk to, they come from a different vertical or a different background. Like I'm a trained paramedic and fire veteran. It's what I did for a long time before I went into this, and I was in IT before that, so that's how I transitioned. But that's beside the point. But I had that same feeling when I went to Ad Monsters. It was everybody I talked to. They were like, "Oh yeah, I didn't start in advertising. I was doing something else completely." And then everybody was a quick learner, a quick study, so they quickly got involved in ad tech and ad ops and fell into it. But not a lot of people actually had marketing degrees. So
Yeah.
you know of the unicorns out there that exist with ad tech experience and ad ops experience, you're even you're even more rare. But so that's been a struggle for kind of publishers across the board right now, is hey, we need people ideally with experience and things like that. Have you found that as well, and like at WeatherBug, or maybe even not at WeatherBug, just being an industry veteran in ad
Yeah.
ops? I'm sure you talk to other publishers and things. Are you noticing the same thing? And if so, what has been your resolution to it? Like, what are you guys doing to kind of find the right people with the right skill set?
Yeah, I think we're what we're looking for is not necessarily for whether we want individuals who are able to think freely, right? And then who want, and I think in the ad operations world itself, we're just known individuals to what is that problem? How do I fix it?
Yep.
Like just problem
Really
solvers.
good
That's
problem
it.
solvers.
That's a
Yep.
really good problem solvers, um, to a point where it's like I have to solve this problem, right? Like let's take the Lego pieces into sort of like into ad tech, right? So you're looking at sometimes you can freely build something on your own and make it sort of like what it looks like, almost to the spec of you want. You built the foundation of Lego piece. Like let's look at an X-wing. My godson can build an X-wing out of scratch on Lego pieces on his own, and he can make his amazing modifications to it. Or he'll buy the prepaid pre-use ones where you follow the instructions, what a lot of us will do, right? Now you're translating that into to the Reddits and to documentation and figuring this out. And then so I'm building this X-wing, and what he'll probably do, he could probably take some pieces and add to it or remove it to make my X-wing look way better than it really is. So
Yeah.
those are the individuals how we start to think about, and maybe that's sort of like the test we give, like almost a product test, and like build something for me out of Lego, and it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be wrong, right? Like we don't
Yep.
necessarily have to have, but I think that's what we're looking for is, someone who's inherently wants a problem solver, pretty good at like tech. Like as you start building up, like of course you need to have those individuals who understand the space. But how do we get more of more engineers in that can solve the issues or help to like build the tools that we need to help solve for the things that are in ad tech and in our space? How do we convert some really good account managers who are able to speak to our clients into more of the ad tech like operations piece so that they can now communicate internally, right? Because our account managers are great communicators and help to build those gaps and those bridges between the teams, like in marketing or in other parts of the operations team, and our clients too. And like, let's get them out there in client space and ad tech so that they can start speaking the technical pieces to them in a way that a seller would. So I think that's sort of the like that what we need to know, and even training as like more of like a vocation instead of, which it hasn't been pretty much like,
Yeah.
right? A history of ad
Yep.
operations is a vocational, trade almost to get things
Yeah.
further out there.
I 110% agree. And I know just uh having gone to ad monsters, and I'm sure you've gone to them in the past. And
Oh yeah,
if I say the name Rob Beeler, you probably know exactly who I'm talking about. He recently started doing a base camp. Just I think
I
last
was
week,
there.
even,
I
right?
was
Were you
there.
at the base camp?
I
Oh
was
man, I
at the
didn't.
base camp. I was.
How
It
was
was
it?
an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Like what you say, exactly what you said. Like if you just say Rob Beeler, right? And Rob,
Right.
if you're listening to this, love you,
We love
great
you. Yeah.
experience. He
Yep.
is a great connector in this space, right? And
Yeah.
and and the fact that if you speak to him for like 15 minutes, he will almost crowdsource for you. Like this person knows this person knows that. Let me get these three together to
Yeah.
have a conversation. And whether that conversation goes anywhere, it may help one person, it may not help any, but at least that's sort of now you're sort of like helping your network and extension. But
Yep.
being at Basecamp was great because we had very high level individuals who really want to make sure that our environment and remains clean. Is we're
Yep.
thinking about our users and the people who use and our customers that use our products first, right? And then also within our space, how do we make that easier? How do we make how do we automate and how do we automate processes across the entire industry so that the intelligence that we have, like the brain power that we have collectively, can solve for these problems without having to like sit there and just like, I got to dedicate 15 hours to billing and reconciliation. Like,
Yep.
get yourself out of
Yeah.
there, get your teams out of
Exactly.
there. automate
Yep.
that process, even though you still need individuals to do that. Like think
Yep.
about the things in those tools at a higher level so that we can really concentrate on things that we can help solve and push our industry forward.
I love it. I love it. I hope he continues to do more of those. That whole idea of, yeah, all of this, like, cumulative brain power that we have, and how there are really cool, like, advertising challenges in the world that, like, we can really solve with technology, right? And
Yeah,
how we can automate it. So that's super awesome. Like, love it. Love it. Um yeah. Shout out to Rob Bueller, by the way. Hopefully he listens at
absolutely.
some point. We love Rob here as well. I actually, so that a lot of the conversation that we're having today, I kind of had a similar talk with him at Ad Monsters, right? It was like, and he had, you share kind of the same idea that he does, right? Where it's almost like, hey, you need almost like a vocational sort of training for this, right? That, you almost said word for word what he said. So it's really cool to see, guys like yourself and Mr. Beeler, who are basically industry veterans and industry gurus, and you guys have the same sentiment. So that's really, really good to hear. Hopefully somebody kind of takes that bull by the
Yeah.
horns and runs with it.
Hey, and it's not just he and I, right? There are a whole and yourself included. Like there's a whole group of individuals who think the same, and
Yep.
in that way, and like how do we start to do this right, and like bring more power, mind power into our industry. So it's just make sure that we get ourselves organized and start. Do we want to? Are we the ones to put that together? Do we set that off to like somebody like an organization to start off like that vocational piece as well? But there are going to be a
Yeah.
lot of people who are going to come in and say, I have a great program for you. I think you're in the right mindset. Like college may not be
Yep.
right for you, or higher education past college is not going to be right for you. But and you took a different path than somebody else. You have what it takes, I believe, for you to be successful in this industry, and you'll have industry veterans, um, powerful, powerful women, and women, parents, individuals who are going to be there and willing to like to build you up and make sure you are successful. And I think that's what our community does, is make sure that, yeah, at one piece where our companies are fighting for those ad dollars and those users to be part of that, but
Yep.
internally off the side, we're pulling for one another to make sure that we're
Oh
all
man.
successful together, right? That dynamic
Yeah.
is crazy.
Dude, that's exactly it. So a few years ago, I went to another Ad Monsters event, and so we're AdButler, an ad server, right? And so obviously we compete with Google and we compete with Smart and things like that.
Mhm.
As a company, yeah, we're competitors. But when we got to the event and we all sat down, we were like, hey, you know what? We're all like, ad tech experts at this point. We all went out, we sat down, we were like, what are you guys seeing in the industry? Like, how are you solving for this? Like, it no longer, we kind of, as individuals, broke down those competitive walls, and it was way less about being competitive as an industry, or as a business. Rather, it was more about, hey, as an industry, as an advertising, you know um veteran, or whatever you want to call it, right? It was like, hey guys, how do we empower each other, right? And things like that. How do we get better? How do we increase our skill sets so that we kind of elevate the whole advertising stack, as it were, right? As
Yeah.
opposed to just being competitors. It's like, hey, I'm going to steal business from you. It was more along the lines of, hey, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what do you see, which is super cool. I mean, the IAB kind of does it to some degree. They try and come up with these tech councils and so forth, but it's really cool to see things like Beeler Tech and stuff, where you get all these people from different companies that might be competitors, they might work together and so forth, but it's no longer about the company, it's more about the industry,
Yep.
and it's more about the individuals. And that's it's funny, you don't, at least in my experience, I haven't really found that with any other kind of industry.
No, not at all. Especially
Not
when you're
often.
no, not yeah, exactly. And a lot of the things when a lot of my friends and my family have no idea what I do, and
Yep.
it's and to be fair, I don't know what they want to do. Like I don't know what they do. Not that, but I don't hear. And when we do talk about work, it's not one of those things where work is them. And it's like that separation, and some individuals are just like they can't grasp or wrap around their head like, wait, you work for this type of industry where everybody knows everybody, you go out and have a great
Yep.
time, and then also you want to be there to talk shop
Hmm.
collectively together to just be able to like, what are we doing wrong, like what am I doing wrong, like I can ask that to my peers, like here's my situation, this is like what I'm looking at, what am I not thinking about,
Yep.
and then you have like this, like try this, try that, this worked for me, this didn't work for me, like exactly what you said, but then it's like you think about like, you're like, okay, I can't use this, I can maybe use parts of these three suggestions to make it
Yep.
my own and stitch those things together to make it like to have something be a little bit more successful, and then continue like, and then you tell that story to the rest of maybe somebody who's asking the question down the line, like
Yep.
then now you're that fourth, like I took the flavor of these three that you're describing
Exactly.
and I made my own flavor. So take whatever you want from whatever you need.
Yep. Exactly. That's exactly it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I originally stepped into this podcast with some ideas of like more geared towards WeatherBug. And I originally wanted to do the podcast around like the idea of contextual based targeting and
Mm-hmm.
WeatherBug being, a weather based app. How do you, target? Unfortunately, I didn't get to any of that today. Any of that whatsoever. And we're trying to keep the podcast kind of short, sweet,
Yeah.
things like this. And I just realized we spent the last half hour talking about just people, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, just the people side of it, right? which is
That's
which
what
is
really starts
absolutely
with.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So you know what, we're probably not going to get to do the contextual targeting piece of WeatherBug and stuff today, but hopefully we'll have you back for another podcast in the coming months if you're interested, because I think this
I'm
was totally
totally
awesome.
interested. Yeah. I mean, let's
um
certainly do a part two. I mean, I think we have things.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, we're thinking about things, on the stuff that we wanted to talk about here on, um, targeting and sort of like where the ecosystem is going. And so driving all of that to the publisher, and like that responsibility is squarely on the shoulders of the publisher. Would love to share at in the next couple of months, maybe like at the whenever you guys have time, and after
Yeah.
watch you guys go through these a couple more times, I'd love to come back and be able to talk about like what we've been doing and what we've been doing to get there, and sort of like
Yeah.
sharing some of our ideas and philosophies about privacy and the publisher, um, and the future of it.
Yeah, I think this was a great place for people to start to get to know you, to get to know us, and I think you're right. Right, it starts with people. It all starts with the people, and it's really good that we had that. So I am glad the way this went, because anybody that's listening, I think they're going to have the same feelings we are. Right, the sentiment is shared kind of across the board with anybody in the industry. So we will definitely have a part two and get you back for a part two, maybe even a
Cool.
part three. We'll see how it goes. But this was absolutely fantastic. I appreciate it so much. Before we sign off, I usually like to give a couple of minutes to our guest, roll out the red carpet to you. What's new with yourself or with WeatherBug, either or? What's coming down the pipe? What are you guys working on? What are you excited about?
Yeah.
Just a couple of minutes to kind of tell us all about what's going to happen next.
Yeah. So we on the WeatherBug side, we want to make sure, and WeatherBug and Ground Truth, we want to make sure like trust is key for us. So we work towards trust.
Yep.
We want to make sure that we're especially looking it through the lens of the individual users that come to us, and whether it's on the advertiser side, or the consumer side, and we want to make sure that everyone who works in our space trusts us. We want to push the industry forward, making sure that our technology. We've won already 2 Ad Exchanger awards on best in class technology on the WeatherBug side, use of header bidding. So we will continue to push that and can help to push the industry in that way. Privacy, um, privacy, and sort of like where we are in scale, like being with ATT in the space. We know that Privacy Sandbox is pretty much rolled out already through Android 13. If you're on the beta right? So seeing that come through and knowing what is coming ahead, and obviously everyone's talking about the deprecation of the cookie, and how do we connect that ecosystem together. I think we're internally on the ground truth and WeatherBug side, we're actively thinking about that and ideating. We just had yesterday, we had a pretty big ideation session, like where do we go from here, what can we test out, and then so I think in the next couple of months I think we'll have a couple, some really good things to think about. So would love to come back and take you guys through the journey, guys and gals, and all y'all through that journey on what we were thinking and how we got there.
That sounds absolutely amazing. Thank you so much again for your time. We're going to end the podcast here, but we'll definitely have you back for part 2, and we'll start touching on more of the ins and outs of the actual ad tech itself.